is not the only thick thing. The field is very thick as well.
We have a really tight field, not only in the points chase, but in times this afternoon in qualifying. We see a new pole winner for the first time, General Tire pole this season. I'm telling you, this is anybody's race, Krista. By the time we raced at Iowa Speedway last year, it was race 11 on the schedule. There are only 2 different winners by that point, and one snuck in there, Daniel Dye, right before that. So 2 drivers won 9 races to start the year. We've already had 4 winners in 5 races.
Well, and we have our eye on a few of the competitors tonight. We're calling them the Big 3. So let's take you through some of the ones to watch tonight once we get racing here at the Iowa Speedway. Who, Jim, are you keeping your eye on?
Nick Sanchez has been a great surprise here in just his 2nd season in the ARCA Menards Series. He races for Rev Racing. They switched to Chevrolet last year, but this year, opportunity struck. He won the finale last year at Kansas by leading the final lap, and here he is in that black number 2 in the center of what was a drag race to win the Talladega. He won that race by the leaders crashing out with each other. He won that race in just 1 lap, but at Kansas Speedway, Nick Sanchez put it on him. He led 42 of the 100 laps. A statement race for Nick, just 5 points out of the point lead right now.
Okay, so Nick Sanchez, one to watch again. He drives the number 2. What about the number 18 of Sammy Smith? Sammy Smith, the local kid. He's from Johnston. Johnston is a suburb of Des Moines, so he grew up right in this area. Just turned 18 last week, and that is big because that means he can race at a whole lot more tracks than he used to be able to. An announcement coming out this week that he will race some Xfinity Series races, 8 to be exact this season. I talked to him this week. He said he does not have an open weekend for quite some time. At Phoenix, he was on the pole, finished 3rd in that race, but has won 3 of the 4 East Series races this season. So he is picking up in the East Series right where he left off. Now that he's 18, certainly one to watch as well. Mike Massaro, the 3rd member of our team, also has a 3rd member in the Big 3. Hi, Mike.
Hello, Krista. Certainly Raja Caruth has to be included in that Big 3. After all, the last couple of races he's run, he's finished 2nd and 3rd, encroaching upon that first victory perhaps, but the racetrack's going to be a little bit different than it was during practice today. What are you expecting?
It'll be definitely interesting, Mike. You know, we lay down a little bit of rubber in practice, but now it'll get all washed away. So it'll be interesting to see kind of how the balances of everybody's cars change. We were pretty tight in practice. I hope we'll be okay. But no way to tell. I'm still very inexperienced, but overall our Discover, St. Vincent and Caribbean Tourism Chevy wasn't bad at all, just needed to be a little bit better.
We alluded to the fact that you're inching closer and closer to victory lane. What do you need to do to make it happen tonight?
It's got to execute tonight. I think we may not have the best car, I think, compared to, you know, the Cup guy or to them guys, and I just got to execute, make sure I take advantage of any opportunity that presents itself, not necessarily force anything, right, but be there at the end of the race, because we're still points racing. It's no playoffs. It's not winning you're in. It's a 20 race long year, so just got to execute. The team's executed so far, and now it's up to me.
We're wishing the best of luck. He rolls off 11th tonight. Krista?
And a very happy birthday to Raja Caruth. We talked about the Big 3. They all celebrating birthdays within this week. Hey, it's my husband's birthday, by the way, today as well. Shares a birthday with Raja Caruth. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention that.
Happy birthday, PK.
Happy birthday, PK. And we hope to bring you as a gift racing very soon here at the Iowa Speedway. The drivers love this track, so do we. We cannot wait to bring you ARCA Menards Series racing. You see the jet dryers out there. By the way, they borrowed a couple extra. They had 4 here. They brought one in from Kansas, from Chicagoland. So we are equipped and ready to take you racing, and we hope to do so very soon. So check on back here at MAV TV, and we will bring you ARCA Menards Series racing under the lights at Iowa Speedway. The Calypso Lemonade 150 still to come. Welcome to Newton, Iowa, home of the Iowa Speedway. If you are ready for some ARCA Menards Series racing, well, guess what? So are we, and the track is about to be too. It is getting much closer. The scheduled start time for this race had been moved up. We knew weather was in the area, as it had been all day. It was scheduled for an 8:06 green flag. Obviously, that did not happen. We've continued to wait out this weather that you see here, presented by Lucas Oil. The humidity, wow, 92%. That is a Midwestern summer special. We can't wait to go racing, and we hope to bring it to you very soon. The track drying underway. And upstairs, Krista Kelly alongside Jim Trado. And we've seen that the track, it's getting close. We know that the drivers are ready, we're ready, and the track crew is doing their part.
We're seeing lighter gray, which means that surface is getting dried by these 6 machines here to dry off the track, dry off pit road. They've been working like crazy, Krista, and really in the last 25 minutes or so, we've seen it go from 1.5 grooves to maybe 2.5 grooves of dry racetrack. They're continuing to work on it, but in reality, we're getting close. We're getting really close.
Well, there's a lot of reasons to watch because this is the first time all season we have seen the Premier Series, ARCA Menards Series, matched up with the East Series, and we have seen some great racing in both this year.
Sammy Smith and Taylor Gray have won the East races this year. They're in the field, but they're also racing for the Sioux Chief Showdown. That's another component built into this race tonight. And wow, what a great ARCA Menards season we've had thus far. We were on the air at Phoenix Raceway to see Taylor Gray's first win in the ARCA Menards series, but in reality, we've got an emerging cast of characters here. This race is wide open. 4 winners in their first 5 races this season.
In that race in Phoenix, too, you mentioned Sammy Smith was on the pole.
Yeah.
Taylor Gray won that race, really an emotional win for that race team, and they were fast in practice. They had a lot of reasons to think that they're going to be Sammy Smith, though. We have seen some developing stories with Sammy Smith since we've been here. He did not have the kind of qualifying run that he wanted to have, and since then, we have heard news that he is going to the back of the field.
Yeah, Sammy Smith barely made it out for the qualifying session, and after that, his crew chief Mark McFarland said, we need to make more changes. That car had an issue. The hood was up. They were looking at the engine. There was a time session. He barely made it out to get out there, but they didn't think they had it figured. So by taking the car out of impound, Sammy Smith, the fastest car in practice, one of the favorites, will have to start at the tail of the field tonight at the start of the race.
It was a dramatic qualifying run because he only had, 90 seconds to lay down some kind of lap. He was able to do it, put it in 9th, but now he really has his work cut out for him. And remember, he just turned 18 last week. He's from about 30 miles away. He said he has tons of family and friends. A lot of the fans have been kind of hanging out, waiting for this race to get underway. Trust us, you do not want to be the person who goes to sleep early, wakes up tomorrow, checks all the MAV TV social sites, and says, I can't believe I missed it. Something big could happen in these laps that we're about to see tonight.
And we've got a hungry cast of characters. We're led to the green flag today by 2 hungry teenagers because they are going after their second victory in the ARCA Menards Series. Jesse Love and Daniel Dye will lead us to the green flag. They had great qualifying sessions. They're hoping to get this race in. And by the way, they both got to race here last year at Iowa Speedway. So they're building their confidence in the season and on their experience from Iowa Speedway last year.
So let's find out what the vibe is downstairs in the garage area. Mike Massaro is down there, has been dodging the raindrops all night. Hi, Mike.
I don't have to dodge them anymore. That's the good news. It's very dry. You can see the moon. The sky is clear for the very first time. But you know who's even more anxious to get racing today? Well, it's not just the audience and, of course, us. It's the guys who operate these machines, who work on them. You can see they're on the lane right here in the garage, headed back out onto the racetrack. Teams just making their last-minute preparations. Lots of fast race cars here at the front of the grid. We talked about Jesse Love, also Daniel Dye. They'll lead the field to the green. As far as the racetrack goes, from what I can see, it is very gray at the top groove, but a little bit shiny down at the bottom, but the jet dryers are hard at work. Pit road still a little bit slick, so they have a little bit of work to do, but once it's ready to go, so are these guys. They are anxious to go green here tonight. Krista?
Absolutely. These are like the blue-collar workers in racing. The ARCA Menards Series, these guys, a lot of them have been, some of these guys were racing. You talked to short tracks last night. We can get into that story in the race in just a little bit.
And we're seeing Brandon Jones. He's back in the field. He won the most recent ARCA Menards Series race, the NASCAR Xfinity Star, back tonight to play at Iowa.
So a lot of drivers to watch. You're going to do that when they start turning laps here. The Calypso Lemonade 150. Everybody, just the sense of urgency is in the air as you see the track drying. Yeah, a lot of gray. That's a good sign. We can't wait for you to join us. We're going to bring it to you in just a bit. So stay here with MAV TV. When we come back, we hope to be ARCA Menards Series racing at Iowa Speedway. Find out who will be standing in victory lane. You have to watch the laps to know that answer. Come on back. Welcome to the ARCA Menards Series and the Calypso Lemonade 150 from the Iowa Speedway in Newton, Iowa. Newton sits about 30 miles east of downtown Des Moines, Iowa's capital city. Let's take a look at the weather conditions here at the Iowa Speedway, brought to you by Lucas Oil. Summer in the Midwest means showers can pop up and drop off. That's certainly what we've had. We've had to wait a little bit for the famous words that you are about to hear. The humidity will definitely play a factor. Mother Nature has pushed this race back. It was supposed to be a start time in the 8 o'clock hour. It is now creeping close to 11 o'clock Central Time. These drivers have been waiting. So have you, the fans. That wait is almost over. Let's go trackside for the famous command.
Calypso Lemonade has returned to the Iowa Speedway. Drivers, start your engines.
How about it, race fans? Let's rock, roll, and rumble here at Iowa Speedway.
Welcome everybody to Iowa Speedway for the Calypso Lemonade 150. Todd Collins.
Well, Mitch Seigan with Calypso Lemonade certainly bringing it. Yeah, the wait was certainly worth it. And this is a race I've had circled on my calendar. I grew up in Iowa. Krista Kelly alongside Wisconsin's Jim Trado. We knew we'd be talking about racing in the Midwest. We knew we would talk about mid-race breaks. We didn't realize we'd be starting this race close to midnight.
But I'm telling you, the wait is worth it because this racetrack has been so racy 16 times now. The ARCA Menards Series has raced here since it opened in 2006. I'm telling you, this is the field of dreams when it comes to racing. Not many racetracks are paved in Iowa, but I'm telling you what, this is the fastest short track on the planet for a reason. 2 and 3 wide racing. It's going to be fun to watch.
I have to say it. Build it. They will come. You can't have a line like Field of Dreams and not say that. We're looking forward to that big Major League game in August at the Field of Dreams 2. Just celebrated the 30th anniversary of the movie last year. Delayed a little bit by the pandemic, but they got it in. And we have gotten in some great racing already in 2022 here in the ARCA Menards Series. The 6th race will happen tonight. But let's take you back to how we got here, Jim, starting with Daytona.
Corey Heim started on the pole as the defending race winner. It was a great race during Speed Weeks in Daytona once again. He's in the white number 20. He went on to win his 2nd consecutive Daytona season opener.
Corey Heim, not a name that we will see a lot here in the series, but that means opportunity for some other drivers, and we saw that in Phoenix.
Our first Sioux Chief Showdown race was a great one. On the pole, Sammy Smith with that number 17. Taylor Gray, motivated by tragedy from that team that week, went on to win his very first ARCA Menards Series race at Phoenix.
Taylor Gray has been fast here tonight. We'll see if that pays off. And then we went to the big track, Talladega.
And wouldn't you know it, it came down to leaders tangling, an opportunity for that black number 2 to sneak on through. Nick Sanchez declared the winner at Talladega, and an exciting finish for that Miami, Florida driver.
Okay, and how about Kansas? We saw a little bit of contact early.
These are the leaders. On the inside, Drew Dollar, that's Corey Heim. They were both done for the day. Corey Heim was on the sidelines. That means the opportunity was there. Nick Sanchez led 42 laps to win his 2nd consecutive race convincingly.
2 wins already for Nick Sanchez. What happened in Charlotte?
Close calls throughout the entire race. Those were teammates. This was Brandon Jones sneaking by Corey Heim, trying to get to his inside, but nobody had anything for Brandon Jones, winning his 6th ARCA Menards Series race. And guess what? He's in the field again tonight.
Okay, so we're going to keep our eye on Brandon Jones, but the driver that all of the drivers will be keeping their eye on, at least on that first lap, is the General Tire Pole Award winner, and it goes to the number 20 of Jesse Love.
He's splitting the season with Corey Heim. The majority of the races will be with this 17-year-old Californian. And when it came down to qualifying, a 20-minute session, lay down your best lap. And this is a great run by Jesse Love to earn the pole in that Yahoo number 20 Toyota.
Tell me again, how old is Jesse Love?
17.
17 years old, and he is fast tonight. He has certainly been hoping this race will get in, lead the field to green. Let's take a look at the General Tire starting grids. Daniel Dye starting alongside Jesse Love on row 1.
16-year-old Connor Jones inside of row 2. Outside him, 17-year-old Taylor Gray. It's going to be a great matchup. I think Taylor Gray is going to be a factor again tonight at Iowa.
We talked about the other Jones, Brandon Jones, but you said to keep your eye on this number 23.
Connor Mosack with Brett Holmes Racing and Shane Huffman at the controls. These guys are hot. Top 5 finishes the last couple times in a partial season for Connor Mosack.
All right, the 55 and the 2, Jonathan Schaefer, Nick Sanchez rounding out row 4. Let's take a look further back in the field, and we've mentioned some of these names. Who are you wanting to watch?
Sammy Smith was scheduled to start 9th. More on that in a minute. He's not going to be in that position at the start of the race. I thought he was going to win the pole. He's the fastest car in practice. Rajah Caruth comes in with a point lead. He's back there in 11th.
And the girls, I mean, I hate to say it, I don't want to just say they're the girls, but they're running top 5 in this series right now in points.
Yeah, Amber Balkan 5 points behind Tony Brodinger. They start in rows next to each other. Stephanie Moyer, the 3rd female, she's running 5th in points in the ARCA Menards Series East. That's a combo points race for that division tonight as well.
And want to mention number 10, Tanner Allen, another Iowa native in the field from Springville, not too far away near Cedar Rapids. We have a 3rd member of our broadcast team down in the garage. He has been dodging the weather all day. He is ready to race. We're talking about Mike Massaro. Hi, Mike.
Well, hello, Krista. And as Jim just alluded to, there's a bigger story about the 18 of Sammy Smith. Now, we're going to be focusing on a lot of the cars at the front of the field, but Smith has one of the fastest cars in the field, and he'll be starting at the back. He did qualify 9th. However, he went out late in qualifying. In fact, it was raining at the time, but he was gripping the steering wheel very hard, was able to lay down the 9th fastest lap. But the problem is, the reason they went out late is because they had an electrical problem. That problem, however, was not completely rectified. And after qualifying, they had to continue work on that race car. Unapproved adjustments have forced him to the back of the field. I did speak with Sammy Smith just before he buckled into the race car, Krista. He tells me he's not fazed by it at all. He knows he's got a very fast race car and likes to pass cars. It'll be a lot of fun to watch as the green flag comes out tonight.
And he is the hometown kid, grew up, still lives in Johnston, Iowa. That is a suburb of Des Moines. Just turned 18 last week. We know we're going to be talking about him a lot tonight, so he is certainly one to watch. Let's give you an inside perspective, tell you who we're going to ride on board with tonight, and that includes the number 43 of Daniel Dye with the Race to Stop Suicide Machine.
Great look from out front. He starts outside row number 1, and this is Brandon Jones' ride for the weekend for Joe Gibbs Racing.
Brandon Jones in the Menards, number 81. So we're going to be able to pop in inside his vehicle and take a look around the racetrack a little bit tonight as well.
Jesse Love doing that weave. It's really important. This track's been drying for a while now. They've had machines out there. They've tried to get everything dry they possibly can on the racetrack. We see still some damp areas. That's the darker shaded asphalt here. And these guys are rolling around here. Might be a few more laps here. But the idea is we were going to go racing for 150 miles, 132 miles, 150 laps here tonight at Iowa Speedway.
We talked about the mid-race breaks. We'll bring you up to speed on those a little bit as we continue through the night. Let's take a look, though, at Trado's keys to Iowa Speedway.
We're going to have 2 race breaks, but there's only 6 tires in the pit. So when do you take the 4 tires? When do you take the 2 tires allotted during the race? You might say, hey, at lap 50 when they come in first time, maybe take 2, but if you're handling poorly, maybe you let down a lap, maybe that's when you take the 4. We'll find how that plays out.
And that happens 50 laps in.
Yes.
First race break.
And there's another one at lap 100. I also like the drive off. When you get to the middle of the corner, if you can drive off here at Iowa Speedway, maintain your speed, and really get things cooking, that's going to be key. And also, at some point, it's been true now since 2016 when Chase Briscoe found that groove to win here in his championship season. The outside groove's going to come in. When do you get to the top? When do you run up there? When do you trust it? It's going to be there when they want it. After a few guys go up, we'll see a lot more speed on the upper groove here at Iowa Speedway.
Yeah, we have heard drivers say this is a multi-groove, multi-lane track, the 7/8 mile. Taking a look now at our General Tire track information, the progressive banking in the corners, that really makes this track racy.
And this Lucas Oil chopper view really gives you perspective here on this 7/8 mile designed by Rusty Wallace. Tri-oval in the front. There's a lot of speed they carry in these parabolic corners. Ricky Stenhouse won here 3 times in the Xfinity Series. Ty Gibbs has won a lot, and that's the same team that Sammy Smith is driving with tonight. He won the last 2 ARCA Menards Series races here in back-to-back seasons for Ty Gibbs, now in the Xfinity Series.
But no series has raced at this racetrack more than the ARCA Menards Series. Was here when it first began. They sort of hang their hat on this racetrack, and we love it because it is a fantastic one. Drivers have had to wait a little bit to get it started, but we are happy to say there's just one more pace lap to go before we drop the green in Iowa. Who have you got your eye on?
I really think Sammy Smith will be fun to watch early on here. The leader, the race pole winner, gets choice of front row start inside or outside. And I just think I saw Jesse Love say, I want to try the outside now already. When's the top going to come in? Jesse Love's thinking that's going to be the spot. Looks like he just swapped corners here. He'll start outside row 1 as his choice as the General Tire pole winner.
As you said, 150 laps. It's the 6th race on the ARCA Menards 2022 season. The number 20 of Jesse Love on the outside, row 1. Daniel Dye on the inside.
There's expectation for Jesse Love to win earlier than he did last year in that partial season. This year he's going to be in 13, 14 ARCA Menards Series races. He's just 17, but the pressure to win is there. I think tonight's a good chance for him to shine. Qualifying proved he's got good speed. And I think Daniel Dye looking for that second victory. Man, he's got really good runs at Daytona. He finished top at podium again at Phoenix. Looking forward to Daniel Dye as we're riding along with him on the start of this one from front row.
And on that outside, Jesse Love, by the way, you said he's 17. That's a 17-year-old behind him in the number 17 with Taylor Gray, also one to watch. The fans have had to wait here at Iowa Speedway. They are on their feet. We hope you are at home as well. It's a midnight special, if you will. We are racing green flag in Iowa. Jesse Love stretching things out a little bit on that high groove with Taylor Gray right behind him.
We also saw 3 wide racing already, Krista. Connor Mosak, the first one to go top shelf. He grabs 4th now on that black, white, and blue number 23.
Connor Mosak really turned some heads already last week, racing in the Portland on the road course. We asked him, did you have road course experience? He said, not really. And they're 3 wide on the backstretch again.
Love it. Why not get right to the point, right? We've said it's been a long, anxious wait. It's over. We're going full on. That car on the bottom, that blue, the black and yellow number 81, that's Brandon Jones. He won here in 2014 when this was an east-west combination race. I'm telling you, Brandon's flying around Iowa Speedway. He loves this racetrack here on behalf of Menards and Morton Salt tonight.
And keep an eye on the other Jones, too. Number 15, Connor Jones, currently running 4th with some good lap times.
Connor raced here last year with Bruce Cook, but getting behind the wheel with Venturini Motorsports at the East race at Dover really got that team confident. They had a fast car there. That's that white number 15, Jones contracting Toyota on the outside line here as the top 3 have broken away single file. This is a great battle for 4th with Brandon Jones on the bottom, Connor Jones, the 16-year-old up top.
Jones versus Jones early, and yes, you heard Jim right. He's 16 years old.
And what's helping him is Britt Anderson was Christian Eckes' championship-winning spotter. He's on the box for the number 15 team for Connor Jones tonight as we're riding along out the doggy side window. That's what they call the doggy cam back in the day with Brandon Jones giving us great shots at this side-by-side battle.
And they are side-by-side in pockets all around this racetrack. On board with Brandon Jones, that's that Menards camera for the number 81. Battling the other Jones, that's Connor Jones in the 15.
Yeah, Brandon Jones actually started inside of row 3. Well, ahead of him was the 15, so he got a position on Connor Jones here in the 15 car, but he's really holding well on the outside. You can tell that parabolic banking, where it's more banked the higher you go on the racetrack, is really holding these cars competitively close. Brandon Jones trying to get free. We saw Brandon get clean air in Charlotte, and how good that was for him 1 race ago here in the ARCA Menards Series. This site, I was told, he's going to race here a few more times here at the ARCA Menards Series, but tonight it's all about backing up that win in 2014 for Brandon, the full-time Xfinity Series racer in the 81.
One of your keys was when that top line maybe will come in. Do you feel, I mean, does this kind of, you talked about Connor Mosak going up top early. We don't really see a whole lot of guys way up close to the wall yet. I mean, you see it right here with the Jones and the Jones.
I really believe it's coming in already. What they're doing is they're trying to see if there's anything up there. Now we're getting a little more speed built in. They are already at the top of the wall, exiting turn 4. That was the qualifying line. You could do it just to get that fast lap, but now they're doing it repeatedly lap after lap. That outside line is coming in very quickly, a lot sooner than I thought.
So enough grip up there to make it racy.
And then you see Connor Mosak on the bottom of that black and blue number 23. He's actually being able to hold it down on the bottom inside the number 2 of Nick Sanchez, the full-timer out of Florida.
In case you were wondering, here's the 411 presented by Lucas Oil. We talked about it being a 7/8 mile track. It's a short track, but if it's top of the show, Jim said the fastest short track on the planet, races like a much bigger track than it is. We're going to turn 150 laps tonight, and those race breaks are going to be key. Lap 50 and lap 100. You talked about this, Jim. They only have 6 tires. My math, if you're doing the math, you can't put on 4 and 4.
And what you have is really the management now in this first run to make sure those left sides can last 100 laps so you can save those fresh 4 tire change for the last 50 laps at lap 100.
Talk a little bit about the Sioux Chief Showdown, too. This is the first time we've seen the ARCA Menards, the Premier Series, the National Series, racing at the same time as the East Series. We'll see it again throughout the season, but it's the first time we've seen it here in 2022.
10 races within the ARCA Menards Series 20 race schedule. and this is the second of the 10.
And the caution is out. See the yellow flag being waved.
I think a car spun or got slow off a 2 on the bottom, verifying that. Jesse Love's been good. He's been out there. He's been single file trying to gap these guys. Had a half a second advantage on Taylor Gray.
But right now it is sort of a 3-horse race, at least if you're looking and following the lap times between Jesse Love, Taylor Gray, and Daniel Dye. Those are the 3 cars up front.
Yellow flag.
But in just 11 laps, we've seen a lot of racing, and we've had to wait for it. Like we said, this race was scheduled to start at the 8 o'clock hour Central Time. It is now after 11 here in Iowa. 11 laps in to the Calypso Lemonade 150. Jesse Love, your leader, but we are under yellow in Iowa.
So I caught a white car to the corner of my eye. That's about half the field, though, Krista. And we're here above start finish. And then I learned from our folks at the ARCA Menards series, this is the reason for the caution. That's our point leader, Raja Caruth's car that spun off of turn 2. That's why we're under caution. That's a big change because Raja's had such a great run this season. Coming back to a track, he really had to manhandle his race car last year in a handful of starts. He finished in the top 10, but to have Raja spin down the racetrack in turn 2, that's a big deal for the point leader going after a full season in the championship this year, as well as the Bounty Rookie of the Year.
And pit road is open. Raja Caruth in that number 6 didn't have the kind of qualifying effort that we thought he'd have either. He in that number 6 starting 11th, along with, we talked about Sammy Smith at the top of the show, 2 of the front runners.
It's a matter of getting comfortable. I mean, we had 1.5-mile tracks. We had the big tracks at Daytona and Talladega this year. They had Cup spotters with them the entire time. No difference for the preparation for the Rev Racing team, but in reality, they've done so many changes to their cars from last year to this year. Getting the support from Chevrolet just a couple races ago has really kind of elevated their program, and it may have altered their setups. They spent a lot of time now in the sim. Chevrolet is allowing that to be part of their development for these young racers that Rev Racing's grooming.
And Raja Caruth now, I was getting ready to tell you, 19 years old. That's not true as of today. Today is his birthday. He is now 20, no longer a teenager, the Washington, D.C. native.
Great to see Raja doing as well as he has. This is not a big setback for him, but he's going to have to do a lot to get back up there. And we talked about tire management. Those left side tires, if you punish him here and he starts skating across the racetrack, that could be a big issue for him to hang on and potentially stay on the lead lap here as he have to start at the tail after causing our first caution.
And Jim, you've seen a lot of races. You've called a lot of races. When you have a condition like we had tonight, where drivers had to wait to get back out there, they're sort of chomping at the bit to get in their race car, and then 10 races in for Raja Caruth has an issue. The sense of urgency, I would imagine, is through the roof for him right now.
Well, if you think about it, Raja is fairly inexperienced. He raced a handful of ARCA Menards Series races last year, had some late model stock races and some legend car races, but really had no upbringing around race cars. First generation racer out of Washington, D.C., got involved with the Rev Racing literally as an iRacing guy. This is a really good opportunity for him full time, and we mentioned the Xfinity Series is also, he's getting noticed there. He also made his Truck Series debut last week, so there's a lot going on for Raja.
I talked to him earlier today. He said he loves superhero movies. So he has to be a superhero tonight, now working from the back of the field. But there you see the standings. You said he's our points leader.
Great runs this year, coming off a second at Kansas, a third at Charlotte. Matched up with his fourth in the first Sioux Chief Showdown race at Phoenix. He's really doing well. And his teammate, Rev Racing, 1-2 in the points. That's a huge surprise in a good way here in this series. And Daniel Dye picking up the GMS flag. And he's going full-time this year. He turned 18, and he started the season at his home track in Daytona and backed it up with a podium finish there. And the second race here in Phoenix, his best run thus far this season has been second. So I think Dye's got something to prove tonight. His great qualifying effort, running top 3 right now. We could see a lot of changes in the points throughout the season with those full-timers going after it and the Bounty Rookie Challenge for Raja Caruth and the other drivers.
Getting ready to go back under green. Again, we were yellow for an issue with Raja Caruth, the number 6. 14 laps have been turned in this 150-lap race that's getting a very late start tonight. We welcome all of you who are watching at home on MAV TV. We're glad you're along for this midnight house party, if you will. We're glad you're staying up late with us.
Talked about anxiety and those 10 laps and spinning out. I'm telling you, these guys have been waiting a long time, but it's also new to them to live through rain delays and not go the next day. And not 30 lappers. We're going 150 laps here at Iowa Speedway tonight.
As they're rounding their way from 3 to 4 here at the 7/8 mile track, that progressive banking that Jim's been talking about. kind of see it when they're under caution speed. Green flag is out. We are back underway. Fans on their seat, out of their seats in Iowa.
Jesse Love taking the outside line at the start. He's got a lot of dirt experience, and you see how he kind of cut across the line and took that line away from Taylor Gray exiting turn 2. Now to the top again with a big lead now as Gray's fighting on the bottom of that black 17 Ford.
They made that look easy. Almost looked like a waterfall start from track days.
Brandon Jones have nothing to say about it other than I would need to go to the front, and how about now in that 81. Wow, good move by him to get around Taylor and a quick way off of turn 4.
But look at Taylor hanging in there. Taylor Gray in that number 17. He was our race winner at Phoenix. That is the last time we've been with you here on MAV TV for the ARCA Menards series. Mike, do you have more on Jesse?
Yeah, Krista, during the break, or during the caution, I should say, Jesse Love had lengthy conversations with his team and with his spotter, predominantly about the 17 car and the 81 car. He wanted to know exactly what line they were running, where they were catching him in the corner. He's already going to work making sure that his mental game and his approach to this race is appropriate, not only on the offense, but also on the defense.
Yeah, quickly identifying who are your nemesis on a given day. The number 20 crew chief is Shannon Rush. He worked really well last year with Corey Heim. They finished second in points. They won 6 races. They also had Lloyd Garner on the box for a lot of those races for Corey Heim. Lloyd's here tonight on the box for Jesse Love. So that experience here at Iowa Speedway may not be as deep for the driver, but Lloyd's been here with a really strong effort with Corey Heim in recent history.
And Shannon Rush, we've heard, he's been around racing for a long time. I've seen him in the NASCAR garages, really kind of finding a home here in the ARCA series.
Yeah, he's won in all 3 NASCAR National Series as a crew chief, and to have him in the Venturini camp, they get a lot done in the shop before they get to the track. They weigh every part. Shannon's part of every setup on every car that comes to the racetrack.
Let's learn more about what happened with Raja Caruth. Mike, what do you have?
Well, Raja Caruth's team is up on the wall right now. It appears they're going to bring him down pit road and make at least a tire change. It appears he may have had some left side damage and perhaps needs to change left side rubber as well. We'll pay attention as they're ready to pit the car.
Yeah, as you see the cars go around the racetrack, we see that number 6 on pit road, so we'll keep an eye and bring you that report as well. You're riding here, you see the 18 of Sammy Smith, that's Iowa native. Taylor Gray in that number 17, just 17 years old, and Connor Mosak in the number 23 on your screen right now. Here's the pits with Raja Caruth. It's like a right front is the issue.
Just the right front tire change, so they're keeping that right rear. That's kind of an odd situation here. He's going to have a different handling car because that right front tire is a lot newer than the 3 they took off, much less how much did he skid on the backstretch. How many tires are really affected? The right front getting the worst of that spin.
Yeah, he's been out there on that set of tires now. They went back green, so good of 7 laps. So yeah, a little bit of, there's going to be some stagger for sure as we take a look at it there.
Checking to see if there's air in it. They can actually use that tire again in the race. So just because there's 6 tires in the pits doesn't mean that's all they get to use. They could potentially put that tire, which may have the least amount of wear on it. Say we have a late caution. They're out of tires already. You can save it to put on later in the race.
You feeling, you know what happens around midnight? Start to get a little hungry.
Yep.
How about we take a look at the Reese's Sweet Move? This is a chance for you at home to get in on the action, be a part of the decision making here at MAV TV.
If Raja comes back and does something spectacular here, he could be our first nomination for the Reese's Sweet Move of the race tonight.
So we don't know what they are yet, but throughout the race, we're going to tell you the Reese's Sweet Move of the race nominees. You will then go to the ARCA Racing, it's at ARCA _ racing on Twitter to vote 9 a.m. tomorrow.
So we're going to put up at least 3 different votes for you tomorrow morning. You tell us who was the Reese's Sweet Move of the race winner. Maybe they win Reese's Peanut Butter Cups like we scored today earlier.
Have you been? Yeah. Have you been? You've been helping out.
Well, I'm glad you and I split the 2 cups that came with the traditional Reese's Peanut Butter Cups. I didn't want to go 2 because then I might be accused of talking too fast or having too much caffeine or something. Doesn't take me much to get excited about this racing if you couldn't tell.
We are 25 laps into the 150-lap race here at the Iowa Speedway. The number 20 of Jesse Love, the 17-year-old, is your leader.
The ARCA Menards Series is brought to you by General Tire. For whatever you do, General Tire delivers. Calypso Lemonade, taste of the islands. Bounty, the quicker picker-upper. And by Menards. Save big money at Menards.
Welcome back to the Iowa Speedway. The Calypso Lemonade 150, the ARCA Menards series. And while we were at break, the caution had come out. That was on lap 30 for a spin in turn 3. The number 11, there you see the car.
Bryce Hageberg had a good run going. He's been racing a lot of these races with Andy Hillenberg and his own team. Number 94, if you've been watching all the ARCA Menards series races. This is the 11 tonight for Bryce.
Let's take a look at what happened. The 18-year-old from North Dakota.
Home race for him, too. Just spun sideways, and those are the leaders going by him. That was a big deal. He was almost a lap down and spun it out on these banks. One of 4 entries tonight for Andy Hillenberg in fast track racing.
Yeah, Bryce was 13th at Kansas. That's his best finish this year.
Yep. It's about getting laps and getting survival. And that team, I mean, it's him and his dad working on their stuff. And the chance to run with Andy probably comes with some shop time. Andy likes to get the drivers down in this shop in North Carolina, work through some things. And they help a lot of drivers in this series, actually. When they come through the Carolinas, Brad Smith spends time in Andy's shop. It's a great learning environment for these drivers and teams.
Well, and the only driver we've seen who's been able to come down pit road, unfortunately it was due to issues, was this number 6 that you're seeing here, Raja Caruth. So everyone else on those old tires like Bryce and that number 11. But let's hear more on what's going on with Raja Caruth, our points leader in the series, that number 6. Mike?
Yeah, Krista, he's down 3 laps right now, and Brad Parrott just came over the radio to tell Raja that the right front tire that they changed was not down. It is still inflated. Raja had told him he was feeling a vibration, thought the tire was going down. They elected to pit. That's why they are down several laps, in addition to the spin, of course. But now they've got a lot of ground to try to make up. Brad Parrott playing not only crew chief, but giving his driver a bit of a pep talk. You could tell that Raja was a little bit down, a little bit disappointed by making the decision to come down pit road, but Brad was just still trying to pump him up, trying to keep him upbeat. Still a lot of racing to go, but as we mentioned, 3 laps to make up. They're going to need a lot of cautions.
And what a cheerleader to have, though, on the pit box. Brad Parrott, the veteran crew chief, calming down the 20-year-old, his 20-year-old driver.
That's another great element we have in the ARCA Menards series. Sammy Smith has Mark McFarland on his pit box. Mark won the championship last year with Ty Gibbs. Mark's done a lot of great things. He's won the East Championship with Ben Rhodes. I'm telling you, this is a great team that Sammy's stepping into. I listened to his radio chatter on my Racing Electronics radio up here in the booth, and he talked about, I'm a little free, not bad. I want to keep running on the bottom. I don't think running up top is going to give me a lot of time. Well, guess what? He's running the bottom. He's up to 4th in the TMC Transport Toyota. And he started the last.
I was going to say, remind viewers, he had to start last because of unapproved changes after really a poor qualifying effort. He was supposed to start 9th, so he has made it all the way from the back of the pack up to 4th in just 34 laps.
He's calm. He knows what he has in this race car, and this is the same team he raced with last year to win the East Series. His 3 wins last year came with Mark McFarland and the entire team. That Ty Gibbs ran 20 races here in the ARCA Menards Series and walked away with the championship.
And remind our viewers, how many wins does he have this year in the East Series?
3 out of the first 4.
3 out of the first 4.
And now that he's 18, I'm telling you, the sky is the limit for this Iowa driver in the 18, Sammy Smith.
Well, his calendar is certainly filled up since his birthday. Again, the announcement came out this week that he'll be racing in the Xfinity Series. He said he doesn't have an open weekend for quite a while, but he said that's okay. That's exactly how he likes it.
He loves short track racing with Donnie Wilson. He does a lot of great things. He won the Winchester 400 last year. But when it comes to this series, there are age restrictions. Jesse Love cannot race at Michigan or Kansas. When you're 18, you can do all that. Jesse's still racing in this series. He'll be racing for the Sioux Chief Showdown, but Sammy Smith now can run anywhere he cares to in any NASCAR division, including here in the ARCA Menards Series.
You see the pace car with the field across the start-finish line for 1 to go. Jesse Love, the number 20, is our leader, with Brandon Jones now running second in that 81. Transpose that, you get the 18 of Sammy Smith in 3rd.
Yeah, you might have seen Sammy here last year at Iowa Speedway on our MAP TV coverage. He ran the number 81 because he was a teammate to the 18 driven by Ty Gibbs last year, but that was a team put together by Mark McFarland. This is actually 2 different teams. Brandon Jones, who we're riding along with here in the 81, that's his NASCAR Xfinity Series team. Jeff Mendering, his crew chief, is here. That entire team went to victory lane at Charlotte 1 race ago in the ARCA Menards Series. So they are ready to give Brandon more times, more laps, and a track he's confident at once again here tonight.
So it sounds a little bit like a David Goliath kind of scenario, but Brandon Jones has that win from, like you said, the last race, trying to go back-to-back here in the ARCA Menards Series. But he's going to have to do it against a very strong Jesse Love, the pole sitter, number 20. He's led every lap with Sammy Smith, the 18 behind, and Daniel Dye is coming too as we get ready to go green. And the green flag is out. They are back racing at Iowa Speedway.
Little wiggle out of Jesse. Here comes Sammy Smith to the inside. Wow, what a great split and run by Smith in the 18.
That was sweet.
Reese's sweet move, candidate number one, right there,
oh
right there.
Gosh. He just needed a little bit of an opening, and Jesse Love gave it to him, and Sammy Smith was off to the races.
While the leaders on that restart were deciding, is it peanut butter in my chocolate or chocolate in my peanut butter? He said, forget it, guys. I'm split in the middle of this Reese's Peanut Butter Cup. Awesome move by Sammy to get the lead.
Said he has a lot of family and friends here tonight. Again, he lives in Johnston, Iowa. Johnston is a suburb of Des Moines, so only about 30 miles away.
And he's done a lot of racing all over the country. He's won the World Series of Asphalt Stock Car Racing twice, once in a Pro late model, once in a Super. That's in Florida in February. He is constantly racing, but now his focus and attention is moving from the ARCA Menards Series on up into the trucks, and who knows, could be real soon. With this talented young driver and the equipment that Kyle Busch Motorsports can give him, the sky is truly the limit here just in this series.
Did I see? I don't know if Brandon Jones just had a little wiggle there as he kind of went low a little bit.
Got second spot from Jesse Love. Brandon's been really aggressive on these restarts, and that's one thing I've talked and learned. Drivers now racing the ARCA Menards Series that had a race in the Truck Series 1 or 2 times, like Raja Caruth. He finished 11th last race. He learned a ton. Restarts in the NASCAR Truck Series, man, they are something else, and these guys are getting after it. They're learning right now from Brandon Jones, who's now in second.
Sammy Smith has stretched his lead out over a second over Brandon Jones. He's taking that high line as he comes out of 4. Across the start-finish line. He said he goes to bed at night thinking of racing. The first thing he thinks of when he wakes up in the morning is racing. Doesn't have any other hobbies. He said, this is where I want to be. This is what I love to do. And he wants to make it to the next level.
And in reality, he's racing against Joe Gibbs Racing, and he's beating him by 1.5 seconds right now in that number 18. This is Daniel Dye and the GMS Racing Equipment. That shop's right in with those 2 Cup cars and 2 Truck Series teams for GMS on their campus in Statesville. Telling you, they're doing a great job with Daniel Dye, the 18-year-old. He didn't have a chance to race much last year, came in for a partial schedule. Full on, going for Bounty Rookie and the championship, comes in 3rd in points in this Carolina Custom 43.
And he's fun to talk to. You know, you look at his numbers, he's had good results this year, but I don't know if you remember, when we went off the air in Phoenix, he was a little self-deprecating. You know, he went away, well, he finished 3rd, but he had such a fast car.
Picked the wrong line on the restart.
The wrong line.
Yeah.
And he said it just sort of, maybe not haunted him, but he was very cognizant of it, but that's how you learn.
He's brought up to me twice since. It's on top of mind here. When Daniel Dye will get the lead, he's really going to focus on what can I learn from it. He's great at learning this. He also loves bowling. He said he loved the hand-eye coordination. He loves the mindset he gets in. It's him and the ball and what he can do on the lanes. He's done a lot of bowling recently. That's kind of his second hobby to racing. He loves this, but that's kind of his go-to about how can I get better. And that helps him in a race car, he told me.
Mike Massaro, you ready to throw a strike with this one?
The bowling, he's way better than I am. He told me he went bowling not too long ago, and in 12 attempts to throw the ball down the lane, I think that's what he said. He said he threw 11 strikes. That's 1 strike short of a perfect game. I'm nowhere near that. Thank you, Krista. But you talked about him being a student. He talked to me a little bit about that today. He said, listen, where I've gotten better predominantly is I've become a better communicator. On the receiving end, he's learned how to listen and take feedback and translate that into performance on the racetrack. Not just the bowling alley, but definitely at the racetrack. Also, as far as it's concerned here at Iowa, he says this is his favorite racetrack. I asked him why. He said, well, it's just a lot of fun to drive. I can do some slide moves and everything else. He just really enjoys driving here.
Daniel Dye's got a great support group around him as well. His crew chief, Chad Bryant, won here in 2016 with Chase Briscoe. Chad also won twice or 3 times as the Cometic Crew Chief of the Year here in the ARCA Menards Series. And today, they're reuniting the spotter that was here 3 times in Victory Lane, Joe White, with Daniel here at Iowa Speedway. He's won twice in the Xfinity, once in the Xfinity Series and twice here in ARCA. So it's great to have all that experience built around a driver here just for the 2nd time at Iowa Speedway.
And I feel like we're going to follow that bowling story more. That's not the last you heard of Daniel Dye in bowling, because he said he just picked it up not that long ago.
And he's one of those two-handers like Belmonte. I'm telling you.
Yeah, doesn't have the thumb hole. And by the way, you can get 12
thumb.
strikes. There's 10 frames in bowling. But again, if you get a strike in that 10th frame, you sort of get that bonus.
Get 3 more shots at it. It sounds like he did it right, except for 1. That's pretty amazing.
But he said it wasn't the last one. He said it was like a mid-frame.
So like a 279 game. I'd take that all day. I'd usually do that in 3 games. I can get 279 after 3 games of bowling.
He said 6 months ago he was bowling maybe something in the 100 already up to 270s.
It just goes back to that focus. He graduated high school in May with his class. He's got everything going in the right direction. Still lives in DeLand, Florida. Doesn't plan on moving anywhere. But this team around GMS Racing has really built a strong effort and support system for him.
Now just a couple of laps away from that first mid-race break. Lap 50 is when it'll happen, of 150 here at Iowa. You see the leader, Sammy Smith, in that black car with the really nice gold 18.
Alex Love in that blue number 03. He's already a lap down, so we're kind of keeping track of who is between Rajah Caruth and potentially getting a free pass. Every caution, we award a free pass to the first car, not on lead lap. They get to rejoin the field and gain one of their laps back. Well, Club is ahead. So is that Iowa named Allen on the score sheet. He's actually last car on lead lap running for Andy Hillenberg. Great to see Tanner Allen do so well. But those are the 2 cars that they're keying on now for Rajah Caruth to get back in contention for the race. He's got to make up 3 laps either on the racetrack or get some lucky dogs or free passes. Right now, 2 cars are hampering that effort. When the caution flies, one of those other 2 drivers will get the lucky dog.
And it's about to be decision time, because as they come into the pits, they'll be able to take on those tires. We told you, will they take 2 now? Will they take 4 now and save the 2 for later? We're about to find out in just a bit.
Brandon Jones runs 2nd, Daniel Dye 3rd, Jesse Love, the pole sitter, back to 4th. They're all going to make changes here. How big of a swing do you make as the sun is gone? The track now has some rubber on it. A lot of decisions made to be on pit road here in a moment.
Sammy Smith is doing everything right. He started this race at the back of the pack, has already fought his way up to the front. He is leading at lap 50. When we come back, they will pit. We'll find out what happens as Sammy Smith continues to lead at his home track of Iowa. Welcome back to Iowa Speedway. Look at those pit crews jump off the wall to service the cars. We are under the first race break here at Iowa. This is their chance to change tires. Will they take 2? Will they take 4? Let's take a look at Daniel Dye, the number 43. So you see the tires and the service being done on his car.
All right, am I good or bad at this? I'm thinking 2 tires now would be the call for all these teams.
Let's talk about this. The Sioux Chief Showdown Lowdown. Love this map, because this really tells you where all the good stuff happens.
We are only in round 2 of a 10-race series within. It pays $1 million to the winner of just the Sioux Chief Showdown in prize money. We go round 8, we go to Milwaukee, we end up at a dirt track, and we go to Bristol to decide. The Sioux Chief Showdown is the finale for the ARCA Menards Series East as well in September.
So 10 races. This is how it all breaks down. I love that. The Sioux Chief Showdown Lowdown. It is a lot to keep track of, but there is that really big prize waiting for someone at the end.
And these are short track races, less than 1.25 miles. So the 15-year-olds, the 16-year-olds, the 17-year-olds can race in every race to race for a championship. And these races are on short tracks, road courses, dirt tracks. It's a really exciting series. We're going to Watkins Glen. We're going to Mid-Ohio. These guys will have a chance to race for a really big deal, and 50 grand for the dirt race winners now. If you win both, you win 50 grand. Thanks to Performance Seed. That was announced this week. So
I know, just a whole other. There's always the race within the race within the race, and all these fun prizes. And like you said, for East and West, young and old drivers. The ARCA Menards Series Showdown. This is how it all breaks down. We've only had the 1, so these are their race points.
They earn race points only, not bonus points for leading or for wins, but these are race points. We had 1 race thus far. Taylor Gray, you'll notice there's only 1 point difference. It's really tight after that 1 round on race points only. That's the top 5 finishers at Phoenix.
That's why you need to join us every week here in the ARCA Menards Series on MAV TV. Tonight it's race number 6 of the 2022 season. Sammy Smith came in your leader. We are under caution for the mid-race break. We'll go back green flag racing right after this. We hope Hope you're pouring yourself a nice glass of Calypso Lemonade for the Calypso Lemonade 150 ARCA Menards Series racing at Iowa Speedway. Doing things a little later than planned due to Mother Nature, but we are not only underway, we are in the middle of our first mid-race break taking place at lap 50. So the drivers have come down pit road, have serviced their cars, just waiting to go back to racing after everyone is off of pit road. So let's find out what some of the drivers decided to do. Mike Massaro?
Yeah, not a whole lot of surprises from the leaders, Krista, as they came down pit road. We're talking about Sammy Smith in the 18 and the 81 of Brandon Jones. They pit right next to each other here at almost the turn 4 area of pit road. Both drivers saying their cars were extremely free, which was not all that surprising considering the weather had washed all the rubber off the racetrack. Both cars needed to be tightened up. Both machines had chassis adjustments made and did right side tire changes and are hoping to be a little bit tighter, a little bit more snug here when the green flag returns. Krista?
All right, good stuff from downstairs with Mike. Now let's head inside one of these race cars. Jim, can you dial someone up on the radio?
Hey, Jesse Love, Jim Trado in the MAV TV booth. Hope everything went well for you on that pit stop. You had the lead early. You got back to 4th here on the restart. What did you guys do to change that car to get back up front?
Yeah, just need to do some fine tuning on our Yahoo Toyota Camry. Obviously fired off really good. Just need to get our center and get our exit a little bit better. So feel like we did some stuff here to make our long run car a little bit better, and now we just got to go to work.
I know we're getting back to a quick green here. Appreciate your time. Good luck, Jesse. Yeah, they're getting rolling here to try to get green already the next lap around, and that's really good insights by Jesse, and he's such an intelligent driver. He's had experience since age of 10 in late models and dirt cars and wing cars and non-wing midgets. I mean, I'm telling you, he's got a lot of experience, but he's only run a couple of dirt races the last couple of years, focusing forward on the Toyota racing development, and you hear from that feedback, I need a little more drive off. He's got little touch points now as he gains experience here in the ARCA Menards Series.
And it is a race sort of, you know, these breaks allow us to kind of do, let's look at what we can do in this stretch from lap 50 to now lap 100 to kind of find out what we can do. Mike talked about the 18 and 81, wanting to just be a little tighter. So it's great insight all around.
Yeah, small changes, that's with tire pressure, that's with a little bit of wet. So that break we just had, that's 5 minutes on pit road to do what you need to do on the car. They can do a lot of different things. I've seen shock changes. I've seen tried to make a power steering change once, power steering pump. I think it was here at Iowa Speedway by a team. That cost the team a lap, but they got the fix they needed. Oh boy, D.L. Wilson not fixing to go here on the backstretch in the 12.
Another one of those Andy Hillenberg cars. You said 4 in the field tonight.
And DL stop on the backstretch. He did not race at Charlotte Motor Speedway, but DL had very good reason. He's a retired Texas law officer, and what he did, he said, hey, after the Updale, Texas deal, the school tragedy, he said, I need to spend some time where I am a police chief. He's a police chief at Riesel Independent School District in Riesel, Texas, where he is overseeing what they're doing at their school. So he spent some time working on what they're doing in Texas at the schools he oversees. So that's why he wasn't at Charlotte, but great to see DL back here with us. And you can tell that he's got a lot of things going. He's got a sergeant's name on his quarter panel. He's always thinking about how can I help promote others and how can I affect change and give exposure for people with my race car.
Yeah, using what it sounds like is his platform, you know, serving his community, protecting and serving.
Yep.
And then sort of taking it's a race car, but it's also a rolling billboard. It's a chance for him to shine a light on some of the things that are important to him. So that's great to hear.
He's one of the 23 drivers last year that Andy Hillenberg put behind the wheel of one of his race cars in the ARCA Menards Series. And it's great to see Andy supporting the ARCA Menards Series East with Stephanie Moyer running 5th in points into tonight. It's great to see that support here in the series, and DL is loving it. I just talked to him, and he's got a quick smile and just enjoys every aspect of the family atmosphere here in the ARCA Menards Series.
So he had 23 different drivers in his cars. We have 23 cars total in the field tonight.
Well, there's, you know, multiple races, 3 or 4 cars a race. Yeah, it adds up quick. And DL ran the majority of the races himself last year.
One to go before we're back under green racing at Iowa.
So you may have seen in NASCAR National Series, there's a choose rule. Every lane, every driver gets to pick their lane. In ARCA, nope, we're back to the traditional leader gets to choose inside or outside. Everyone else must form. So 3rd has to pick inside row 2. 4th has to pick outside row 2. So the only choice was for our race restart leader, Sammy Smith. And for the 3rd time in 3 restarts, the leader has chosen the outside line. to restart the race.
You talked about that outside line, at least at the start of this race, the first section, if you will. The outside lane really came in a little quicker than you thought.
Yeah, actually, Jesse loved it at the start, so this is the 4th time the leader gets to choose. Now, there's a restart line in ARCA. There's not a restart zone, so once they hit that first line, they get to go. They can't pass on the inside or outside till the start-finish line, stay in their lane. But in reality, we get going quick here. There's no zone to work on. The leader just has to be the control car first to the restart line right about now.
This is going to be a fun restart to watch. You have the 18 of Sammy Smith and the 81 of Brandon Jones, ARCA's most recent winner. Sammy Smith jumps out to the lead.
Great restart by Smith of the 18. Last time he took a 3-wide move to center and split the leaders. This time just walked away on the outside line.
Said, I don't need anything fancy this time. I'm just going to show you how I do it.
Those right side tires are brand spanking. Those lefts are screaming a little bit here, trying to get that balance early on here with the tire pressures building on the right side tires.
And there's some great battles further back in the pack as well. It's go time. This is a relatively short race, too.
Ooh, we saw that blue number 35 of Greg Van Alsem, Lucas Oil chopper, get a bit sideways. Greg's back in 6th position. He's running full time this year. This is his first time at Iowa Speedway. Now he's getting a 3-wide run back there. Wow, there's something going on all over the place. This is our battle for 3rd.
They are 3 wide. Greg Van Alst right in the middle of them.
Jonathan Schaefer, this is his first ARCA Menards Series race. He's just had 1 East race to this point in the 55 for Venturini Motorsports. Great changes by that team to get that young driver out front.
Yeah, young indeed. He's the other 16-year-old in the field. 2 16-year-olds in this field.
He's got some dirt experience. He likes to hang it out. This track allows for that. Get it loose and get it wide and maintain speed. Schaefer really impressive here in his first start. These 2 drivers are going at it for the Sioux Chief Showdown all year long. The 43 of Dye is 18. He can run all of them. But really, he wants to win the Sioux Chief Showdown just as badly as all these part-time drivers that are not yet 18 to run the full schedule.
Riding on board with Daniel Dye, the number 43.
You'd see that arcing on the front stretch, how much speed you can carry down into turn number 1. Really a racy track. Rusty Wallace designed this track. I don't know if you remember that. I'm sure you do, Krista, because it's 2005 when they said we're building the track in Iowa. And Rusty really has had a hand in every element of building the banking. He took laps around here before it got paved. He brought drivers out to Iowa to see what they liked about it.
I came out to that. They had a media event, one of the first events, and it was Clint Boyer, Rusty, Kenny Schrader, all came out, did some ride-alongs with some media, with some different folks. And there was just so much excitement, and there still is. I mean, we see that there's fans here in the stands who've been here, you know, waiting out all that weather. Because remember, Iowa doesn't have professional sports teams. There's not a Boston Celtics playing the Golden State Warriors around here. You know, so college sports are big. College wrestling is big.
Wrestling huge.
And racing is big because there's an ownership. There's a sense of this is my track, my state, and I'm going to come support it.
And it's such a great state. The Boone Nationals for the modifieds. That's the biggest modified race in the country here in Iowa. This is one of 2 paved tracks that I'm aware of in Iowa. This Speedway and Hawkeye Down Speedway in Cedar Rapids. That's it. I've been to both tracks. I love the racing in Iowa Speedway. It allows for a lot of 2 and 3 wide racing, and they love their short track racing here at Iowa Speedway and at Hawkeye Downs.
And didn't you say one of the drivers in the field was racing at Hawkeye Downs just last night?
Ron Vandermeer Jr. is racing for Jeff McClure in the number 44 on track. Right now he's back in the 12th position, but he ran last night as Mid-American stock car. Finished top. He finished on the podium in 3rd after a late race scrum. So it's great to see that. He said, hey, it's only an hour and a half away. Jeff McClure called me. It's a no-brainer. I want him to run back here in the Iowa Speedway for the first time in the ARCA Menards Series with Jeff, who's a former racer here, turned crew chief, turned owner. Jeff has had a great run with partial schedules with drivers. Mason Diaz, a top 10 run at Daytona with that team.
So many great stories riding back up front with your leaders. Sammy Smith, 18 years old in that number 18. Brandon Jones in the 81. Brandon Jones won the last ARCA Menards Series race. That was at Charlotte. But Sammy Smith is the hometown kid.
And Brandon has 217 Xfinity Series starts. So in terms of gauging a driver, where to learn, where is he picking up, that 18 team has Hal Martin as their spotter. Hal went everywhere Ty Gibbs went until this year. He's back on the box with Sammy Smith at Kyle Busch Motorsports now. This team is every bit the measure of what Brandon Jones wants to see. Hey, is better in turn 1? Where's he gaining speed? They're all taking advantage of that.
As we continue to follow the leaders here, Sammy Smith in that 18 said he wants to be like a Kyle Busch or a Jimmy Jones. He said those are his guys. Those are the two drivers that he sort of grew up watching. Two good ones to follow for sure.
Watching Sammy getting a little bit more free through these high angle corners. He talked before about lap 30 or so. I dropped it on his radio under caution. He said, I don't think I need to go to the outside yet, guys. I'm gaining on the bottom. No one seems to be gaining up top. Well, Sammy now knows this is the time to go to the top. Brandon Jones has a lot of speed. Let me go somewhere to find if I can maintain this lead with Jones breathing down his back of that Morton Toyota.
This is a great battle. I mean, these two are just hanging with each other.
Jones with a look, but a lap car ahead of him. Is that going to play a factor here in turn 1, Krista?
Getting around him there, and Sammy Smith still out front. But less than a second on his lead as they swing through 3 and 4.
So Brandon Jones changing his line. Where is he better than I? And right now, Brandon has a great run off of 4. He went to the high side and I did a dive down low, and he's keeping it low. Is Brandon Jones going to lead the Iowa race? The Calypso Lemonade 150.
Look at Sammy Smith on the outside. He said, not so fast, Brandon. This is my track. This is my state.
And then that banking allows you to try different lines, but the momentum for Jones is better off of turn 4 at the stripe. That's where they pay out. That's where you actually take the lead officially, and only at the stripe do they count it. Nope, the 18 of Smith stays out front since lap 37.
Let's watch what happens here off of 4 if we can, because this is, like you said, where he's sort of, if it wasn't for that lap car, we may have seen that same move a lap sooner. Sammy stretching it out on the backstretch, though.
And to not get rattled. That's what I love about Sammy. He's a calm, cool, collected kid. But I'm sure the blood pressure is getting a little bit higher in the seat of that lead car because Brandon Jones is so good at Iowa Speedway specifically. He's running your bunch in the trucks and Xfinity Series. He's got a win, 2 wins actually in the ARCA Menards Series platform here at this racetrack.
Dove down low a bit, couldn't do anything there with it. But don't be surprised, you're going to just see him kind of just keep chipping away at it.
So Brandon Jones, you're saying, why is an Xfinity Series full-timer in the ARCA Menards Series? He's actually trying to help this team. The 81 team is in the Joe Gibbs Racing Camp. They work a lot with the 18 of Sammy Smith now on the Kyle Busch Motorsports banner. Mark McFarland, I'm sure, had his hand in setting these 2 cars up, now fielded by Joe Gibbs Racing with 81 and his Xfinity team helping him. But Brandon loves racing. He loves Iowa Speedway. And look at this battle, Krista.
This is awesome. That number 23, Connor Mosack, up to 5th. He's one that you said keep your eye on, but let's not forget about the 55 and the 15, those Venturini Motorsports cars.
Connor Mosack again driving for Brett Holmes Racing. Brett Holmes, the 2020 ARCA Menards Series champion, is a partial schedule this year. Ran an ARCA race this year at his home track, Talladega. They have a NASCAR Truck Series truck as well. Connor is going to run 9 ARCA Menards Series races while racing for the Trans Am TA2 Championship. So Connor's a busy dude. And look at what he's doing here at a track he's never been to. This is amazing to see Connor holding off these 2 youngsters.
And really got a late start in his racing career. He said he, always kind of liked racing, lives in Charlotte, so he's surrounded by it, but did one of those car racing Charlotte experiences at just the age of 16, and that's when he got bit by the bug.
He didn't race anything till he was 18 as far as the competition. Look at this, to his inside, the 16-year-old of the 55 of Schaefer, and the 17-year-old in the number 15 car. Look at that. That's Connor Jones. I'm sorry, he's 16 as well. A pair of 16-year-olds getting this experience with the 23-year-old in that number 23 Chevrolet.
They were 3 wide, and they're sticking together like glue.
Part of it is you don't know what you don't know, but in reality, they have such a good race car, good base. Kevin Reed, Billy Venturini, Dave Liner. I mean, they're all working together as one team for Venturini Motorsports, who has yet to win more than 1 race here. And all the races we've run, just 2019 with Chandler Smith has been their lone victory for Venturini Motorsports here at Iowa Speedway.
That is really interesting because you said Billy Venturini ran the first ARCA Series race that was here. So opportunity was there. They just haven't been able to capitalize. Maybe it happens tonight.
They also have 3 or 4 cars per ARCA Menards Series race, so a lot of chances to win. Great drivers have driven their cars. Really happy to see the 55 of Schaefer getting a chance here, really proving himself, as well as Connor Jones in the number 15. Very impressive tonight at Iowa Speedway.
We've been able to mention a lot of different names because a lot of different drivers are turning heads here tonight at Iowa Speedway. We are over halfway in this race, just over halfway. Sammy Smith continues to lead the number 18 over the 81 of Brandon Jones. But don't go away. Daniel Dye, Jesse Love, and Connor Jones are coming fast. '83 of 150 laps complete in the Calypso Lemonade 150 at Iowa Speedway, ARCA Menards Series Racing, and it is Brandon Jones out front, the number 81, taking the lead away from Sammy Smith in that 18. They've been battling for the last few laps, and I don't think this one is over quite yet. In case you've missed anything, let's catch you up to speed with our Richmond Water Heaters mid-race recap. Jesse Love in the number 20 leads the field. But it didn't take long for the 81 of Brandon Jones to get his name in the mix. And an issue here for the number 11.
Just 3 cautions, including our first race break at lap 50. Then it was time for Sammy Smith to shine, and wouldn't you know it, Brandon Jones tracked him down, stalked him. Jesse Love, we talked to him about the changes he made, about how he's going to race the second 2/3 of this race. And wouldn't you know it, Brandon Jones right there in the mix takes the lead from Sammy Smith here just about halfway through the Richmond Water Heaters recap here. We saw Brandon check out, Sammy run second, and here we are racing at Iowa Speedway. We didn't think it was going to happen tonight, fans, because the rain and everything. Love to have you along for the ride here. Thanks for being part of it. And
for staying up late.
Yeah, it's been really a fun race.
It's, you know, the summer is here. It's a Saturday night. Maybe you're just getting in. You don't have to tell us what you did. It's okay. Whatever you did, we're just glad you're with us. Now, watching a little ARCA Menards Series racing from Iowa Speedway. We've had those 3 cautions. We've also had 3 leaders. The current leader is 81 of Brandon Jones. Taking a look at the Sprecher fast lap.
What if that was on lap 1 through 20, because he went from last into the top 10. He took the lead by lap 37. Daniel Dye smoking. Big puff of smoke out of that car. He came in the race 3rd in points. We saw how good he was running 3rd.
Oh, man, look at that. It's smoking all through turn 2. Caution is out.
Running 3rd at the time. I just saw a big plume of smoke out the window, Krista. I stepped up, and I couldn't believe it was Daniel Dye. Such a strong run. This team's been bulletproof when it comes to mechanicals. Something went awry big time under the hood of that Carolina Custom Chevrolet. Here he's riding along with him now.
And yeah, they've had just some bad luck for some different things this year, even though the results are there. I kind of hoped I wasn't seeing what I thought I was seeing when I saw the smoke.
I don't know if we heard the engine noise on that in-car camera either. Oof. To the garage he goes, joining Taylor Gray back there.
We're going to get a look right now at the Auto Park It replay.
Running along in 3rd, doing his own thing. Coming up on Amber Belkin and that number 30 Icon Ford. And look at that, just something like go. We see the stream behind it as well. Motor issues out the bottom end on the 43 of Dye. Just a guess, because I saw the fluid put down right away. That's where the smoke is coming from. It's got to be a motor-related issue. Daniel checking his gauges now, talking to his team, checking the digital dash, trying to reset that as well.
So unfortunate, because it comes in off a 4th place finish in Portland. That was a West Series race, but the last ARCA Menards Series, 6th. Before that, 3rd. So again, having some good results. Talked about the communication. That's what Mike Massaro gave us that report. Said he's a better communicator at listening. Just trying to put it all together for that 43. It's a good-looking car, too.
Big deal for this team to be suffering through a failure like this. We talked about the large field. We talked about the East racers coming to here. We talked about the Sioux Chief Showdown implications. It's a big blow for Daniel Dye and this GMS racing team. That's crew chief Chad Bryant holding the wheel, trying to get that car back to the pit area. There is no time limit on what you can repair and get back to the racetrack in the ARCA Menards Series. I did notice earlier that Taylor Gray went behind the wall as well. That's huge implications as he came in this race 2nd in the ARCA Menards Series East points, and he wants to win the Sioux Chief Showdown.
I was just going to say, those are the 2 front runners in the Sioux Chief Showdown.
Yeah.
And as we were riding on board with Daniel Dye, that onboard camera, such an important sponsor. They're carrying the colors for the Race to Stop Suicide. So, you know, again, we talked about drivers using their platforms, using their positions to really spread important messages. Daniel Dye doing that tonight.
Yeah, it's going to be a look-see that we got. Aylmore Engineering supports this series. They've got mechanics specifically just to help these teams with their engines.
Mike, can you help us out with anything? What do you know with Daniel Dye?
Yeah, Krista, it seems like Daniel Dye has a broken valve. That's what I've been told. They're going to try to repair it just to try to get out there and turn some laps, get some points. But obviously, the car is quite crippled, way down on power. Now, Daniel Dye is not the only car that's in the garage right now. Just across the garage over here, you can see the 17 of Taylor Gray. He's been in the garage for several laps now. That's also a car that has been down on power, not a valve situation. They're trying to evaluate and try to determine exactly what the problem is there. It seems like it could be an electrical problem for Taylor Gray, but two cars that we're expecting to be very strong here tonight, both in the garage with mechanical problems.
Yeah,
Started the first 2 rows, and it's really disappointing to see Chad Bryant just slamming the headset on the roof out of frustration. And Taylor Gray came in on lap 65. He's 35 laps down already.
Wow. Man,
but again, every position matters. It comes down to single points per position. You get 3 more if you win the race, added on to what could be a lap leader or most laps led bonus.
And we've only had 1 race in that 10-race Sioux Chief Showdown. Again, it's sort of a race within a race, a contingency, if you will, something fun to sort of grab onto, a huge amount of money for the driver who can win that. And Taylor Gray, with his win at Phoenix, able to hold on or be 1 point ahead of Daniel Dye in that Sioux Chief Showdown. It'll be fun to follow that all season, though.
I wonder if Sammy Smith's going to try something on this restart. They're not going to come to pit road until we get a race break. They're going to get 4 tires. We got a short run to then, so I'm no doubt the team.
That's going to happen in about 9 laps or so.
They're in conference now, so if Sammy could steal a lap or 2 led, hey, we pay out 1 point for the most laps led, and Sammy's right in position to do that. Brandon Jones took the lead just about 10 laps ago or so. So if Sammy could steal a few more of those laps, that's important on this restart for that driver, the number 18, to get a good jump on Brandon Jones, the veteran. Brandon's been racing a long time. He's just 25 years of age, but man, he's got so much experience on these other drivers. It's great to have him here tonight to help set that tone, saying, boys, this is how we do it. Brandon got the lead away after stalking Sammy Smith lap after lap. It's all part of the process, but I'm looking for Sammy on this restart to do something special.
It's funny you said that, because before we went to break and we had the top 5 currently running up there, and we said the names, and I'm thinking teenager. Oh, Brandon Jones, 25, teenager.
Yeah.
I mean, he's the veteran at 25, but yeah, that's not that old.
Yeah, Connor Mosak's the next driver, 23 years of age, back in 6th. Leland Honeyman, he's got a great run going tonight. He's our Bounty Rookie Challenge driver we need to watch. Coming out of the East-Series red hot. He's 17 years of age out of Mooresville. But he came into this race 3rd in points in the East and leading the rookies standings, the Bounty Rookie leader in the LH Waterfront Construction number 02 for Young's Motorsports.
And we know Sammy Smith has just sort of been dominating the East with those 3 of 4 wins, but Leland's numbers, I mean, his worst finish is 8th. The rest are all top 5s.
And to go to Five Flag Speedway, that porous surface, to do what he did, win the pole, lead a bunch of laps, did everything but win the race. He's really been impressive in the ARCA Menards Series East this year. And they're finishing their schedule with us. They're racing here, Milwaukee, and Bristol in companion with the ARCA Menards Series, all here on MAP TV.
It'll be fun. This is the first time all year we've seen that, the ARCA Menards Premier Series that you're watching here tonight, but also whoever wins this race gets those East Series points if they're racing in the East as well.
Yeah, you get points awarded in both series, so the winner gets the most points. That's 48 points if it's a perfect score. That's laps led, lead the most laps, win the race. All those points add up quickly.
We've had 3 leaders tonight: Jesse Love, Sammy Smith, and Brandon Jones. Again, the caution came out, lap 87 for the number 43 of Daniel Dye. You heard Mike Massaro's report from the garage. Thinks it's a broken valve. They're going to continue to try to work on that, get him back out on the racetrack. Taylor Gray also in the garage, the number 17, trying to get back out.
Jesse Love's still a factor here. Sits 3rd on this restart, number 20. What a big day it would be for him. It was a huge win for him at Salem Speedway last fall. That pole sitter sitting inside row 2 on this restart.
This could be the restart. We know there's still a lot of racing, but the green flag is out. Let's see what happens between Sammy Smith. Tries to get the launch, but look out for Jesse Love.
Why not go to the bottom? This isn't Phoenix, guys. There's not 9 lanes, but Jesse's using the bottom to his advantage. Goes up in front of Sammy. Oh, my. All the way up to the top side and gets the lead.
He used every inch of that racetrack on that restart from turn 1 all the way out of turn 2. I'm feeling a Reese's Sweet move right there.
I'm thinking Sammy Smith's thinking payback at some point. He came right across the nose of that black TMC Transport Toyota. Connor Jones up to 2nd, running high now in the wall. Oh, my. The white 15 of Connor Jones.
Wow.
All the momentum into turn one. That arcing front stretch so deceiving on how much speed they carry. He brushed the outside wall while chasing the lead down.
Feels and looks so good till, ooh, there's that wall right there.
Sammy Smith found that out last year here at Iowa Speedway. He was in this race in a team car to Ty Gibbs, brushed the wall. It was his worst finish ever, 18th in the ARCA Menards Series East or ARCA Menards Series.
Jesse Love continues to lead after that great restart. You want to see it again, Jim?
Absolutely.
I know you do. Here's an auto park it restart. Another look at it.
Great restart by the 18 of Sammy Smith. He got a push and a see you later from Jesse Love. What a veteran move that was by the 17-year-old.
But here's what you're talking about. Look at that. Ooh.
Couldn't hold the speed on the bottom. Sammy had a run on the outside, and Jesse just said, I got to take all the lanes, boys. Great job by Sammy to back out of that one. But what a sweet move by Jesse Love to get the lead here.
Yeah, I like that one for a nominee. We'll see. The Reese's sweet move of the race. Again, we're going to give you some nominees for that. You can vote starting 9 a.m. tomorrow.
And as short as this run is, Brandon Jones goes back out there and says, I got something, Sammy. You got to figure out what I got because I'm better than you. The 81 is Jones into second, dropping Sammy Smith back to third here in the short run.
Jesse Love continues to lead. Again, that's not a new leader in terms of number of leaders because Jesse Love led at the start. He's our pole sitter tonight for this race. But he takes that top spot back.
Yeah, he started inside the second row on the restart, made it work on the bottom. And here we go, 16-year-olds, we got something for you. The Champion Power Equipment 55 of Jonathan Schaefer on the inside. The other 16-year-old, I think school might be done for these guys, but they're certainly schooling each other here around the 7/8 mile, man. They're side by side for third right now and fourth.
16 years old. That means all their friends are just sort of getting a driver's license. They're like, hey, do you want to drive, maybe down to the mall? They're like, I just drove, 150 laps at Iowa Speedway.
And I only averaged about 120 miles an hour the entire time when I did it.
This is the battle for the lead.
They got close.
Jesse Love had it. Brandon Jones wants it.
Jones might have snuck by him to lead that lap, but Jesse powered back on the outside. Wow.
Brandon Jones had it. Jesse Love takes it back, and the caution is out. This is for the second race break. Not only does that mean we get to see service in the pits, it also means we get to see another restart, and the last couple have been amazing. Jesse Love in that Yahoo Toyota. He's saying Yahoo right now because he is back out front. That's where he started this race. Look at this list of drivers who are chasing him. Brandon Jones is 25. All the rest are teenagers.
The ARCA Menards Series is brought to you by Sioux Chief, America's manufacturer of plumbing, drainage, supply, and support products. Hers, forever good. Sprecher Brewing Company, Milwaukee's original craft brewery. And by Reese's Peanut Butter Cups. Reese's, not sorry.
Welcome back to the Iowa Speedway, the second of the two race breaks underway. You see the crews working on the cars. We are just over 100 laps into the 150 lap race. So tires going on, some changing 2, some changing 4. Strategy underway because really there is just one sort of section or segment of racing still to come, and it's going to get good.
And we get 4 brand new General tires for all these teams. Raja Karuth probably the only one playing out of that strategy based upon his early tire issues. They changed just the right front on our point leaders, number 6 Chevy. He's been a non-factor because he had to come to pit road under green to change that tire for a vibration. There he is now in the 6th. They're getting 4 fresh for him. But in reality, big move for Sammy Smith here to get those 4 tires. And really it comes down to what the car felt like, but you really have to kind of throw that away because now you got fresh General tires for this final 47-lap run.
And now they're racing after midnight. It's an entirely different day now.
Yep.
These drivers, these teams have been here all day. We had to wait out Mother Nature. This race was supposed to start in the 8 o'clock hour. It's now, like we said, after midnight. And if you like what you've seen from Iowa Speedway so far, we'll make sure and come on back next weekend live for our next race. That's June 18th. It's the ARCA Menards Series Zinsser Smart Coat 200. That'll be at Berlin Raceway in Marne, Michigan, only on MAV TV.
That's next Saturday. We're back with you the following Saturday at Elko Speedway. We are short tracking it and loving it here on MAV TV on consecutive Saturdays.
It's our
next week.
summer stretch. We are so excited, but hey, there's still a lot of racing to happen here tonight at Iowa Speedway. Jesse Love leading Brandon Jones. That's Sammy Smith. Who will it be in victory lane? Come on back and join us here at Iowa. You know, there's a saying in Iowa, you like the corn to be knee-high by the 4th of July. Well, we are into our second day of racing, if you will. This race started on a Saturday. It is now Sunday because it is after midnight here Central Time Zone, the Iowa Speedway. Under our mid-race break, let's throw it downstairs to Mike Massaro down in the pits.
We can only hope we see a little bit of midnight madness, Krista, because things are about to get exciting. Now, the 81 and the 18, those two cars have been running second and third just before this break. They had swapped the lead not too long ago. We're talking about Brandon Jones in the 81 and Sammy Smith in the 18. They pit right next to each other at pit entrance. And the first break, they were complaining the cars were a little bit too loose. That has not changed all that much. Both drivers saying their cars are very free. Both teams made slight chassis adjustments and a 4-tire change. They are lockstep with their pit strategy right now, but they're still trying to track down Jesse Love, who's out in front right now and has captured the top spot where these two cars are still trying to get by them. Jesse Love looking very strong here after this break.
Yeah, he is loving the view. We were loving that view behind Mike. I mentioned those corn stalks. I love the corn that's painted along the pit wall here at Iowa Speedway, really just sort of adding to the flavor. And Mike, you want to dial or Jim, you want to dial someone up on the radio?
Yeah, I've got Connor Jones queued up here as driver the number 15, just his third ARCA Menards Series start. But Connor, you got a chance to race here at Iowa Speedway last year with a different team. What have you asked out of this Venturini veteran team for this change for the final run?
Yeah, you know, these guys at Venturini have given me a pretty sporty high rod right now, so I think we just go for it. I think we go for the win right here.
What did you ask for from your crew chief, Kevin Reed, to make sure this car is just right for you?
Yeah, we were just pretty loose in right there. As you probably saw, we got in the fence and wanted to a little bit, but I think he's got me pretty hooked up right now. But just can't thank all these guys at Venturini, Toyota, everybody.
Hey, we wish you well, Connor. Thanks. Connor Jones ran Dover in the East Series, ran third, had a great car, but he lost spots on restarts. Kevin Reed was pounding it into me and his driver since then, a couple weeks back, said we got to get better on restarts. So this is critical for Connor Jones. He knows he has a good piece, and as crew chief Kevin Reed reminded him during this break, dude, you got 47 laps and 3 cars to pass. It's on you. Let's get this restart. Let's get it rolling.
I love what he said. He said, we're just going to go for it. I mean, if that doesn't give you a reason to watch, not just these closing laps, but then you just told us, watch him on this restart, because that is what has been sort of, you know, penciled into his head after that race in Dover.
Great driver, 16 years of age in that number 15. He's got a couple shots at it this year out of Virginia. But Kevin Reed and Britt Anderson, the crew chief spotter combination, they've done a lot of racing, a lot of winning here.
With a lot of different drivers.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, we can't wait. This is going to be so awesome. We're so glad that you've waited along with us, stayed up late, maybe just joining us for the first time. You are going to see some great racing as we get down to the final laps, the last segment, if you will, of the 150-lap Calypso Lemonade 150 here at Iowa Speedway. Green flag is in the air. They are back racing in Iowa. I'm watching him. I'm watching that 15, Jim.
Jesse Love restarting this race on the inside for the first time tonight. Great move by him. He's leading Sammy Smith down the backstretch.
Look at Sammy Smith is hunting him down, though.
Sammy, the real quick turn to the bottom there. Got in the mirror of Jesse Love, about a half of the width lower than our leader in turn 3 that time. Wound up top, the 81 of Brandon Jones, and that young driver, Jonathan Schaefer, in the mix in Venturini Motorsports' 4th entry tonight.
All up high against that wall on the backstretch as they sort of dive down low to sweep through 3 and 4. Jesse Love back out front. The way he started this race, he was the pole sitter.
Connor Mosak's been in a lot of side-by-side racing incidents tonight. I'm not saying incidents is bad. I'm just saying he's found himself in a lot of racing situations where he's on the inside. Good thing he's down there now, racing for 4th for the number 23 driver out of Charlotte, North Carolina. In his 3rd of 9 scheduled starts now for Brett Holmes Racing. He might be going truck racing this year with that team part-time.
Look at this side by side.
Love it, love it, love it. Battle for second raging on here in turn 1 at Iowa Speedway. Sammy Smith fans are on their feet. Hometown kid trying to get that spot, get him clear, and get this race win tonight.
And he said he has some friends who really don't understand what he does all weekend. He goes away when he was in school at Johnston, would go away, and they didn't really understand. He takes online classes now because he's gone so much. A lot of racers do that. A lot of young racers, because they have to be gone to make it to their race schedule.
And what does he do when he's not racing? Thinking about racing, studying racing, reading racing, watching tape, working out with the guys from Toyota Racing Development.
So he loves, I think I said this earlier, loves Jimmy Johnson and Kyle Busch's style. Races for Kyle Busch. He said it just floors him that he can just call up Kyle Busch to get advice. Because he said that's, he's only 18, just turned 18 last week. He said that's who he grew up watching, was Kyle Busch.
So Young's Motorsports has a NASCAR Camping World Truck Series team. They've also dabbled in the ARCA Menards Series, but this year they're going after the East title with this young driver, Leland Honeyman. He might even look at some truck races by the end of the year for this young driver.
And he is this week's Bounty Rookie Spotlight, just 17 years old. But look, it already has some championships under his belt, especially in the Bandoleros.
Starting at a very young age, just 17 now, but that experience and that opportunity comes at a price. He doesn't probably play a lot of softball, probably didn't play any t-ball, but when it comes to racing, he started at age 2 in a quad.
Wow.
Age 4 off-road trophy trucks. He won championships there, and he really made his name in Bandoleros, won the 2017 National Championship Young Guns title, and now get a chance here just a few years later to run in the ARCA Menards Series. Leland said, hey, I'm living a dream here with Young's Motorsports, and they're proving that he's fast, they have good equipment. He's going after the East title, and a race win might come soon after the performance he's had this year, just 5 races.
Currently running 8th here at Iowa, really doing strong in the East Series.
Yeah.
And again, those are the points he'll get. He'll get East points and National Series points tonight.
Ooh, Sammy Smith. We talked about how loose he was.
Whoa.
Jesse Love trying to draft him, side draft him, but nah, that move did not work on him at all. Too late move, Jesse. Nearly collided there on the front stretch. There's something
look at
about
this line. Look at the outside. Oh, my gosh.
We're racing hard here. This is not the last lap, guys.
It's not. Wow, driving on board with the Menards camera, Brandon Jones. See him chasing Jesse Love and Sammy Smith ahead of him. Those are the 3 drivers, by the way, who have led all the laps tonight. These are the 3 leaders.
We haven't seen Brandon Jones get passed much, but now he got passed by 2 cars in the last couple laps, and here comes Brandon. Just that great run off the bottom once again. In that black and yellow number 18, looking at the Lucas Oil chopper camera here. Jones is really making that bottom work for him tonight, and Jesse Love just saying, man, I got to hit a spot no matter where I got to run. I got to go where they ain't. And Jones gets the spot back a lap after Jesse made a great move on him.
But now he has to go after Sammy Smith again.
And we saw earlier, based upon the changes they did in this pit stop, Brandon Jones got into Sammy Smith's head a little bit. He got a better run longer the race went on in these green flag segments. Sammy wanted that change. He talked about who I need to race against. He also has a really good race car, this number 18, with Kyle Busch Motorsports tonight. They've been really a great story between those two. I'm sure they talk a lot off the racetrack, because that's all Sammy does want to do, and Brandon has so much experience. Really good runs here tonight. That teenager, the 20, the Jesse Love, man, what a great run he's had at just 17 years of age.
Well, as we continue to follow these leaders up front and the drivers who have led all the laps tonight, there are a couple of stories that we need to follow back in the garage. Let's catch up with Mike. Mike, do you have anything more on some of those stories we were following earlier?
Yeah, Krista, a moment ago we told you that there were 2 of the key players that were in the garage. One was Taylor Gray, the other was Daniel Dye. Daniel's with me right now. Dan, you were running up front awfully strong, and the motor let go. Did you have any indication that the valve was breaking?
Yeah, it seemed like the power was just felt like a cylinder was down. I said over the radio, said just keep running, hoping that it fixed itself. It just kept going and going and going, and was finally gone. So ran really good. It was cool to run up front with Carolina Customs on the car. Just another thing that puts us in bad shape in a race. So just got to hope hope the racing gods are on our side moving forward.
Remains upbeat. That's a good sign, despite having a disappointing ending to an otherwise promising run. Kristen?
I got to tell you, he's looking forward to next week because Daniel Dye surprised the world in just his second ARCA Menards Series start last year. Won the pole at all but one lap last year at Berlin Raceway, where we're heading next Saturday night. So a good chance to rebound at a track he's got a lot of confidence heading to.
I like it, and we were talking about him earlier. He's so methodical, and when something happens, he sort of thinks about it. Talking about the line he chose in the closing laps at Phoenix. I hope he's able to take this race, and I know the disappointment of not being able to finish, put it out of his head, and really focus on the fact that he has that opportunity next week at Berlin. He's a great kid.
Yeah, really got a lot of things going his way. Started out in a really young age as well. Was a quarter midget national champion. Great to see him making a quick transition here, just age 18. So Jesse Love's 17, the number 55 of Jonathan Schaefer. Yeah, he's back there. He's
16.
He's 16 now, but he's got Dave Liner helping him. I mean, they all work together. These are two Venturini Motorsports teammates. But Jonathan Schaefer is only going to get a couple more chances in this car. Really trying to make the most of it.
Look at what he's doing with that opportunity he has tonight. Again, we're talking about that number 55, that white car there you see in the middle of your screen, currently running 4th. That is just incredible, trying to chase down Jesse Love in that number 20.
And you notice he's taking the line Jesse Love has to say, okay, is my car as good as Jesse's when I run the 3rd patch down, the 2nd paving line down?
I'm surprised we haven't talked more about that number 2 of Nick Sanchez. You see him on your screen right there.
Nick Sanchez is back in 7th right now. Kind of been off the screen, if you will, but all the great racing up front. He finished 5th here last year. Nick went full-time last year, finished 3rd in the points, but they were really building towards this year, building towards a 2-car team, which they have now with his teammate Raja Karuth. And what Nick has been able to do is be consistent. He caught fire at Talladega, won the last lap, led the last 42 at Kansas Speedway this year. It's like, okay, we're here, boys. You and I talked to him this morning in the garage.
Yep.
He just turned 21 yesterday, but there's a lot of stuff going on for him. He said Chevrolet's been such a welcome partner for this team, proving what he has here again tonight with maybe a new setup for him to get comfortable and familiar with. He's been really good at the big tracks. This, again, is a great test at one of the really fast races like a super speedway short tracks.
Nick Sanchez driving that number 2. You said just turned 21, and his teammate Raja Karuth turned 20 today. Not the night they wanted, at least not yet. Raja Karuth back in 13th, Sanchez running 7th.
And Max Siegel Incorporated almost got a whole lot more camera time there. That car was almost out of shape big time. Good save by Nick Sanchez. Fight that loose race car on the number 2.
It's the number 35 of Greg Van Alst, kind of driving out of your screen right there, that neon yellow. Currently running 9th. He said they've been, kind of a little under the radar. He said he's okay with that. He said, things are
Challenge competitor. Going back to his roots of super late model racing, he won the 2019 ARCA CRA Super Series Super Late Model title, regional series based out of Indiana, in this same paint scheme, so it's part of that luck deal. They had a gray paint job on the big tracks, going back to the blue and the short tracks.
And there's your friend Ron. We talked about him because, he had to wait for this race to start, maybe a little, oh, I can't wait to go racing. I really want to go racing. No, he went racing last night. He's already had a race under his belt.
Ron Vandermeyer Jr. in the number 44 making another start in the series. He got a Mid-American Stock Car Sportsman-based series. This is a big jump for him. They invested by buying a car. Great to see Ron racing here. It's a bunch of short track racers out of Illinois. And that Mack rack number 44 for Jeff McClure tonight.
There's a number 30 of Amber Balkin. She's currently in the top 5 in points here in the ARCA Menards Series.
It's really good to see her and Tony Breidinger really mature. This is the first year for both those drivers racing full time, and Amber's really doing a nice job improving every race, and that's kind of on the plan for crew chief car owner Mark Rett.
Mike, do you have more on Amber?
Yeah, perhaps the only family that is happy that this race is going as late as it is, maybe the Balkin family and her in-laws, the Reeves. Reason is, well, Amber Balkin is married to a Canadian Football League player who is actually playing tonight. That's Jordan Reeves. His brother is Ryan Reeves. Ryan Reeves actually plays for the New York Rangers hockey team, which is playing against the Tampa Bay Lightning tonight. Her family wasn't able to watch the race because they were so engaged in the football game and, of course, the NHL playoffs. But those games are now over. They can tune in and watch the end of this race. Amber Balkin perhaps doing a little bit better than her husband and her brother-in-law, who both, unfortunately, lost today.
That's a whole lot of sports we got in on that report. We had a little bit of everything there.
And we saw at the drivers' meeting, Amber's wearing her Reeves jersey.
Yes, she was.
She's got her own. Battle for the lead here.
Wow. Sammy Smith and Brandon Jones door to door. Sammy Smith up high in that 18, loses a little bit there. Brandon Jones able to hold on to that lead, actually to take the lead from Sammy Smith. Oh, Sammy Smith is not done yet. Says, hold on.
That wiggle is just because he's so determined to get into turn 3 on the bottom. He worked that line before.
Watch out for that lap car.
Pick and go. Brandon Jones uses that lap car as a pick and takes the lead away. I don't think this is over yet, but Sammy again, that long run playing in the advantage of veteran Brandon Jones to take that lead back once again here.
So we talked hockey, we talked football, we just had a basketball reference there. If you're an NBA fan watching the game, you know the pick and roll. Brandon Jones just used it to perfect execution to take that lead and stay out front ahead of Sammy Smith.
Right time, right opportunity. And I knew Sammy was, as squirrely as he was, he wanted to get to the inside of Jones saying, I need room to run. And he couldn't find the grip in the bottom of turn 3. Then he got picked, and that's the difference in a lap and a half here. 0.8 of a second now between our two leaders.
Say, look at that lead stretching out. Sammy Smith looked a little bit like he was on ice. He did tell me he did used to play hockey. Before racing took over his life, he did play hockey.
So there's a tie there. TMC Transport, based in Iowa. Harold Annette passed away, but Harold's son Michael, for so many years, carried the banner of TMC.
Yep.
And Michael actually is a semi-pro hockey player.
Yes, that's what I said. I said, it's interesting. You both played hockey.
Yeah.
And he said, Michael is actually the godfather of Sammy Smith's sister.
Oh, my goodness.
Talk about feeling old, right?
Great story there. And TMC, my first exposure to that was the shiny black #1 on the wing of Sammy Swindell's World of Outlaws sprint car with TMC and Harold Annette's backing for so many years.
There you see that 81 Brandon Jones coming up behind Amber Balkin in the number 30. Brandon Jones is our race leader. He stretched his lead out over Sammy Smith now to a 1.5 seconds with just 15 laps to go here at Iowa.
Ready for another sports reference?
Oh, bring it.
Brandon has gone to the whip. He has passed Amber Balkin. She was running 11th and is now the first car lap down. So great run by Amber, but just not the pace that Brandon Jones has now said. It's go time. Let's get that last quarter mile on this horse race and take you home to victory.
I think the Belmont might have been today.
Yeah, it was. I don't know who won, though.
I don't.
I was a little worried about what's going on here.
Well, we weren't going for the Triple Crown, so it kind of, you know.
Sugar, the Sports Center update with Mike Massaro. He's got every other game.
What else can we get in? If you're watching at home, get on those get on that MAV TV Twitter account. Tell us what else you need us to throw in.
That lead is growing now, 1.5 seconds to Smith, and that's when he's got to regroup and find a different way to get through it, and he's got a couple of cars between he and the leader now. This is Jesse Love sitting there in third. We talked about how great a restart he had, how good that car has been. But as we click this away, he's losing that opportunity, and if you overdrive it here, it's going to pay a price with these tires at Iowa Speedway. Jesse doing everything he can right now. You see one more tweak at the wheel to keep that car from getting in the fence here.
When it doesn't take long, right? Those tires to wear out, to really start to slide a little bit.
And Jesse Love's racing Sammy Smith right now, really for the Sioux Chief Showdown points.
Okay.
That's kind of within that story because Brandon Jones is only going to be here for a handful of races.
And because Daniel Dye and Taylor Gray both falling out, having trouble tonight, so not being able to get those points.
Setting that tone. So how much will Jesse push it? He doesn't want to risk damage. He doesn't want to risk lower than third right now. Great run. Yahoo on the car for the first time here in the ARCA Menards Series. They've adapted the entire program now at Toyota Racing Development.
Yeah, we love having him here.
Kaylee Bryson wearing the Yahoo colors the other night when there was an all-female top 4 in USAC midget racing.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And what about Jonathan Schaefer in the 55?
And don't forget about me, guys. I'm right here. Just my Venturini debut at
I look
Iowa
at
Speedway.
it and I think has all that leadership and all the resources there with Venturini Motorsports. But this guy is just 16 years old. He's a teenager out of Ashland, Ohio. And you talked about he just wants to kind of make the most when he gets these starts, when he gets in these rides, make the most of it. He's certainly doing that tonight, currently running 4th with just 10 laps to go in this race.
So he ran the Dover East race with this team. We mentioned that a lot, but that's really where Venturini Motorsports branched out and said, if you want to run with us, we have opportunities to run other races than just the ARCA Menards Series. But Jonathan's schedule, as of right now, with Venturini Motorsports in this series, July 29th, Lucas Oil IRP, September 15th, Bristol. That's all he has left. So really getting those opportunities, making the most of them. He's shining bright tonight in that car.
And the 23 of Connor Mosack also doing a great job tonight, running 5th.
Yeah, really solid run for him. I thought maybe we'd see a little more out of that car, but in reality, Connor's learning these tracks. We talked to his crew chief, Shane Huffman, today. He said, man, I am so impressed about how quickly Connor can adapt. Charlotte Motor Speedway didn't flinch. Got a great run there. Coming here to Iowa Speedway for the first time. He's run the Trans Am TA2 series. He's run a lot of things. He's run the late model stock this year as well. So in terms of gaining experience at 18 now to 23, he's run a ton of different cars in different disciplines.
And I wonder, because he's doing those Trans Am cars and he's getting a lot of help from Lauren Rainier, long-time family member here in NASCAR, so much knowledge. I wonder how much that's helping sort of close that gap in communication to help him with his communication with Shane Huffman.
And most recently, Lauren Rainier's been helping Sam Mayer. And Sam Mayer was placed with this team, the Brett Holmes racing team, last year before he turned 18 to go full-time in the Xfinity. And said, hey, I've got another driver, let's make this work. And that opportunity with him racing, remember at Portland, he ran the West race, did Connor Mosack, but before that,
the Xfinity Series race.
Lap 39, he's up in second place on a wet racetrack.
Turned some heads, that's for sure. You know who's turning heads tonight is Jesse Love at 20.
Off the pace.
Ooh.
On the apron is the number 20 of Jesse Love, was currently 3rd in the rundown here.
Dropping.
5 to go, Jesse Love off the pace.
What's happening here? We just kind of sold the graces of the number 20. He's a pole sitter tonight, leading a ton of laps, trying to get up there and battle with Brandon Jones and Sammy Smith.
He's not going to the garage, he's going to his pits. They're going to give it a look over here, but man, what a rough break for him late in the going here.
With just 4 laps to go in this race. Brandon Jones continues to lead in that 81. Let's see if we can figure out what happened to Jesse Love in the 20.
Crew not going over the wall. Again, they're allowed 4 crew members to go over the wall to take a look-see.
And he has the lead pit. The way the pits kind of shake out, they select their pits. Jesse Love in that lead pit.
Obviously something they cannot fix in these final moments of the Calypso Lemonade 150. Tough break for that driver. Great run by Jesse tonight. Won the pole, led some laps a couple times tonight.
But he's not going to get the win. Right now, it looks like it's going to Brandon Jones of the 81 or Sammy Smith of the 18. Let's not count out Connor Mosack in that 23, Jonathan Schaefer in the 55, and Connor Jones in the 15. Those are your top 5. They're all chasing that 81 of Brandon Jones, now with just 2 laps to go here at Iowa. Brandon Jones trying to go back-to-back. He won the last ARCA Menards race. That was at Charlotte.
Amber Balkan on pace for her 3rd top 10 of the season. 1 to go.
Oh, Sammy Smith wanted it so bad. Racing in front of his hometown fans at Iowa. He wanted to call himself an Iowa winner, but as Brandon Jones comes out of turn 3, sweeps around turn 4, says back to back, baby. Yeah, give it to me. Brandon Jones is your winner at Iowa.
Sammy gets 3rd. Connor Mosack holds off young Schaefer for 3rd. Great run by those guys. Want to see them more in the ARCA Menards Series racing. A great performance tonight at Iowa.
We saw a lot of great racing. Just so happy we were able to get this in. Mother Nature said, all right, I did my part. I'm going to move on out to give the night to Brandon Jones in that 81. The 25-year-old from Atlanta, Georgia. He is your race winner. We're going to hear from him here at the Iowa Speedway when we come back on MAV TV. Under the lights at Iowa Speedway, and what a summer it has been for Brandon Jones. Mike Massaro is at the start-finish line with him.
A big victory for Brandon Jones. He's already gotten the checkered flag, went up to the stands, waved it for the fans. He's 2 for 2 here in the ARCA Menards Series. Runs full-time in the Xfinity Series. It seems like it's awfully worth it for you to come down here and race.
For sure, man. I mean, if anything, a big confidence booster. But I got to thank everyone that stayed tonight. I know we had a big rain delay. I know a lot of things happened today. So everyone that hung with us up there, I appreciate all the support. More than Salt, new sponsorship coming on board with Menards as well. They do so much for my career and wouldn't be in this series, wouldn't be winning races without them. So today was another one of those days, man. I mean, Charlotte kind of went the same way. Long run towards the end there, kind of came to life at the end. I had to work for it, though. I didn't lap up to very far at all. I mean, these guys were really tough on me today. I think Jesse Love, obviously Sammy Smith was really quick. Those dudes were really hard to race right there, but all in all, we had a better Toyota Camry there in the long haul, I think.
They were tough on him, but he was certainly up for the challenge. 2 for 2 here in the ARCA Menards Series. A big win for Brandon Jones.
Yeah, and we love that he's giving the shout out to some of those competitors as you see the results here. A couple of Jones in the top 5.
Anna Smith to throw in there, the most common names in America, but we got some great young talent proving it once again behind our race winners, Sammy Smith, Connor Mosack, Jonathan Schaefer. Man, they had a great run. That 16-year-old Connor Jones, watch out for that kid. He finished 5th tonight.
Brandon Jones, the 25-year-old, wins again. We'll come back and wrap things up here at the Iowa Speedway right after this.
The ARCA Menards Series is brought to you by Richmond Water Heaters, the water heater experts. Auto Park It. The future of parking is here. See it at autoparkit.com. And by Lucas Oil. Keep that engine alive.
Welcome back. We have some strong nominees for the Reese's Sweet Move of the race from the Calypso Lemonade 150. I think chocolate goes great with lemonade, by the way. This is going to be a strong list. So let's tell you your first nominee, and this involves 3 cars. This was on lap 75, and we saw some great battles here, but I think this one's a strong vote. So if we're going to start with the 3, the battle of the 3, 15, the 81.
Great race, and we had 7 or 8 different leaders tonight. I'm telling you, it came down to really that long run by Brandon Jones.
All right, here we go. Reese's Sweet Move of the race. See, I told you there were 3 cars. It was the 23 of Connor Mosack, the 15 Connor Jones, the 55 Jonathan Schaefer. I got a theme here. This was strong.
All first timers in their first run, and they were running top 5 at the time.
See, I said there were 3 because now you've got the 2.
Second vote. Here you go. Is it Sammy Smith's turn to spin? Jesse Love made it close, but they were battling for second at the time. I give it to Sammy Smith in the vote on that one.
And then the 1 car. So I went from 3 cars to 2 cars. So you have to work with me. It's after midnight, you know. But these are all strong contenders. Make sure to go on the social media accounts 9 a.m. tomorrow. Vote for your favorite sweet move of the race presented by Reese's. There you see how you do it. ARCA_racing at Twitter. If you have an idea, you know, that's your place to do it. But
3 great choices. Does the winner get all the spoils? I don't know. Second in a row for Brandon Jones coming into the ARCA Series.
great place to grow here in Iowa, and what a show. For Mike Massaro and Jim Trado and our entire crew, I'm Krista Kelly saying congratulations to our ARCA Menards Series 2022 Calypso Lemonade 150 winner, Brandon Jones, the fastest man in town at the fastest short track on the planet.